Venezuela's lesson for American socialists, out of Bloomberg of all places. And they go on to admit that socialism and communism creates a nightmare scenario and is absolutely horrible. So occasionally, the globalists actually let the truth come out. But that's only because they want socialism for the general public, communism for the general public, while they sit offshore, immune from the entire thing. So they want to have it both ways, where they don't pay taxes, but everybody else does. Well, the Chinese yesterday landed a unmanned probe on the dark side of the moon. China lifts mysterious veil by landing probe on far side of the moon. The Chinese space probe successfully touched down on the far side of the moon on Thursday. China's space agency said, hailing the event as a historic first and major achievement for the country's space program. Of course, we reportedly haven't done it because you can't transmit from there. But there's been a lot of probes over there, obviously. Whatever reason, they have not shown what they've gotten. But those first images are up on Infowars.com and Newswars.com. But if you think about it, the United States has sent probes to outside the solar system and all the gas giants along the way. We've landed probes on comets and asteroids. We have gone to Venus and Mercury and to the sun, flying probes into the sun itself or into its corona before they evaporate. And I'm not in competition with the communist Chinese. I just want to point out that we are decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades ahead of the communist Chinese. And everything they've got and everything they've been given has been given to them by us. And they've been given favorable trade deals. They've been given almost $2 trillion in U.S. security in Afghanistan so they can extract $40+ billion a year of rare earth minerals and pay nothing for security there. That's American welfare to globalist companies like Apple and others to get their rare earth minerals so that they can build all the computer chips and all the rest of it at our expense. That's how the Chi-Coms have been given 98% control over all rare earth minerals that are needed for electronics in the modern world. We have been positioned to fail, period. And it makes me so angry that we've had globalist sabotage because the U.S. would be out so far ahead of everybody else. We would have already so many advanced technologies deployed to the public that the globalist plan of austerity and cutting off resources before we ever become basically free of the earth, they'll have a chance to suppress that true renaissance. And what did Trump say in his inauguration? He said, we will transfer power back to the people and back to the nation state from the globalists, and we will release a lot of these innovative technologies and treatments and systems that will bring us into the next technological revolution that will allow us to innovate out of our debts, which has been proven to be the only way to get out of these debt bubbles. But instead, there's a Financial Times article today, and it's been syndicated, saying the New World Order is robotics and is a technocracy. Yes, that's what they said at Davos 10 years ago and 5 years ago. That's why I call them technocrats. They call themselves that. And they're deploying advanced technologies and systems with government initiative money, not to empower humanity, but to build an anti-human future in the future. Global tech show to celebrate innovation amid mounting concerns. Robots and artificial intelligence could be the new world order, republic world. That's just some of the news that I'm looking at here. There's another article that's interesting. Venezuela's lesson for American socialists, out of Bloomberg of all places. And they go on to admit that socialism and communism creates a nightmare scenario and is absolutely horrible. So occasionally, the globalists actually let the truth come out. But that's only because they want socialism for the general public, communism for the general public, while they sit offshore, immune from the entire thing. So they want to have it both ways, where they don't pay taxes, but everybody else does. And then you look at blue cities and socialist and communist and leftist-run areas of the world like France and other areas, Chicago. They're nightmare hellholes where the establishment doesn't pay taxes. They have diplomatic immunity. They have private islands, private jets, private yachts. And then they lecture everyone all day on how bad middle classes are and how everyone has to live in austerity. And then that next leads us to China and Apple and why the stock market's down 600 points today. In fact, let's look up CNBC right now on screen, please. Whatever the latest is. It was 650 points earlier. Dow Jones Industrial Average this morning. And it's because the Democrats are announcing they're going to try to impeach Trump. They're announcing they're going to try to indict Trump. They are saying they're going to kill the recovery. They're saying the regulatory bodies are going to roll back regulations that he got rid of and that they're going to bring them back. They're going to roll back Trump's reforms. First, Apple sank 10%. Now it's back to 8%, on pace for biggest single-day loss in 6 years. And they're there cheerleading for everything to collapse in our faces, thinking we're so dumb we won't remember Bill Maher and Nancy Pelosi and all the rest of them saying we're going to stop Trump's reforms and we're going to stop this recovery to teach him a lesson. Or the globalists saying we're going to teach all these European countries lessons. We're going to crush their economies. But the good news is, in Austria and in Poland and in Hungary and in France and in Germany, they're voting all these monsters out. They're pulling down the UN flags, the EU flags, and they're saying we're not going to have an EU army. You want an EU army to get rid of our nation states and oppress us and open the gates to the illegal aliens. You are the enemy, so that's the beginning of the end of the EU. They won't be able to collapse it and then reorganize it into a Marshall Plan, a bigger program out of that crisis to fully take over Europe, because Europeans now know about that scam. And once the gates open, once the genie's out of the bottle, once Pandora's box is opened, there's nothing they can do on earth to reverse all of that. And we, of course, have exposed all those plans years ago. Not just the current operations, but their next move and their next move. And that's why they can't stand us being here on air. Because you're all supposed to just roll over and take it. You're not supposed to know about their plan. You're supposed to be too stupid. Or you're supposed to be bought off by them. And if you won't take their money, then they'll just lie about you and try to destroy you. And most people are willing to roll over. But not me. Because I understand there's no future if we do that. And that if you consciously know about the evil and you join with it, you become it and lose your very soul. And that ain't for sale. And once you realize that, there's no question of why we have to fight this, of why we have to resist it. All right, I'm going to go to break, and I'm going to come back. It's not a sales gimmick that the year-end super sale is still going, and I keep saying last day for the last 2 days. I have been in meetings. I have been working on news. I have been working on innovation. I have been working on new products, and I just have not gotten around to coming up with looking at what we've got left in inventory and then coming up with some new sales. And we have a couple new products in that are excellent that I've not really cut new ads for yet. And so that's why the biggest sale in our history, store-wide free shipping, double Patriot points, free gift, 50, 75% off, store-wide is going. Today's got to be the last day because a bunch of stuff sold out. But whether it's Brain Force Plus, the last run of X2, or Super Male Vitality, or whatever those great products are, it's all the biggest sales ever, year-end clearance sale. InfoWarsStore.com. Thanks for your support. You make it all possible. CBD-rich hemp oil is totally organic, all natural, something God gave us, and it doesn't have THC in it, and it's totally legal in all 50 states. This is where everybody's going. This is what your body actually needs. There are so many different spectrums of this natural oil that comes from hemp, now legal and lawful in all 50 states, that you need to just go research it for yourself. Now, obviously, there's been a giant marijuana legalization craze that Soros has funded the last 10 years. I've not been involved in that. It's a huge bubble. This is not marijuana. There are hundreds of varieties of hemp. This is industrial hemp that has all the good attributes, but not the bad attributes that turn people into potheads in their basements, picking and eating their boogers. This is the good CBD from the organic hemp oil. And there are so many great products that you simply need to go to InfoWarsStore.com and link over to WashingtonsReserve.com, or simply go to WashingtonsReserve.com yourself to look at all the products, to read about the history, and to see the facts for yourself. So 360 win. There are different CBD rich hemp oil extractions for many, many, many different uses. You owe it to yourself to go look at this for yourself, and to also understand it helps fund the InfoWar. People wonder why I haven't gotten into CBD oil. Well, because some of the stuff's got problems, some of it can get you high, and some of it can get you arrested. This is not that. Legal in all 50 states. It's from hemp, not marijuana. It's totally legal. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we can ship to all 50 states right now from the great website, WashingtonsReserve.com.